Yes, pretty recently in the video for This Car Drives All By Itself, because they had me in a red racing onesie that didn't fit, and so I had a wedgie for about 6 hours, and I looked absolutely fucking dire at the end of it as well, and basically had to axe all the scenes with me in it. No.
Well, after a few Klinsmans, there's been maybe a little toe tapping at least.
In 2006, there was a bit, yeah. Well, Ian Curtis was a very prolific and kind of awesome lyricist, so that's very inspiring. And I wouldn't say we're massive Joy Division, I don't think we're massively inspired by Joy Division. It's just that one song, really. But yeah, great band.
Yeah, we were on the... I got to the airport yesterday in London, and we had a long 14-hour flight ahead of us, and there hasn't been many trips that I've been more excited for. We've been talking about trying to get Lollapalooza for like 12 years or something. Every year we're like, when are we going to play more like Santiago, basically South America in general, and we just didn't know what to expect. So yeah, we're really, really happy to be here, and can't wait to see how the crowd reacts today, and yeah, very, very excited. That's what we had. Yeah. Yeah. So
the reason I'm wearing sunglasses is because because of Piscola, basically, and Pisco sours. We got the sort of Piscola treatment last night in Santiago. It was great though. I mean, I really like the drinks. But that's kind of why they are dangerous as well, because they you don't really notice the alcohol, do you?
Well, I'd just like to add to that that I actually had too many Pisco sours, and I forgot that we even had Piscolas last night. So that's just reminded me that I tried a Piscola, but I forgot that I'd had it, because they're not great for... I wouldn't recommend them to people with Alzheimer's, put it that way. I have no idea. They're all of them.
Yeah, it depends on which one's getting the best reaction at the time. So we could only pick that. We could only answer that after the gig.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as a band, obviously we have all the platforms and try and connect with fans, and it's a good way to keep in touch with people and answer any questions and things. But yeah, we're not that great with it. Remix of Greek Tragedies going viral on TikTok, and our response was, "What's TikTok?" And then obviously, like, we watch the videos, and it's great to see people reacting in any way to any music we've ever made. So yeah, it's great. Anything to add? Yeah.
When we recorded the album, but it kind of like it gave us some tools, finding like ways to work without being in the same room, which I kind of enjoyed. I was sat in Oslo, like on my own, kind of like felt like I had all this time to kind of like try out all the, not so good ideas, or maybe good, I had all this time to kind of like mess around with stuff, and I feel like everyone had this time to kind of like mess around with stuff without having anyone waiting and hanging over their shoulders. That was kind of one of the things that I enjoyed. But obviously, like the energy in the room when you're together, you can't really beat that. So it was a challenge, but it was also a fun process because it was different.
Don't know the exact number, but a lot. And then we ended up recording 16 or 17, and the other 5 or 6 will be coming out later on in the year. Kind of just started in 2019. Dan and Tord came to LA, and we wrote in my studio, and then they came again. We wrote in a different studio, and then maybe one more time. And then the pandemic hit, and I did a load of crap in my studio. We did a few Zoom things, and then yeah, it was kind of business as usual in a way. I don't know, it was like kind of more taking the energy from our 4th album and trying to like ride that wave into the next one. That's kind of how I felt about it.
I think it was back 2003 maybe. Merv's uncle won the lottery, and sorry, I just can't do it. No, there's no real.
I come up with a new one.
It's like, I can't, my brain's not working right now. We don't really have a good story. It's we make up some stories sometimes to keep ourselves interested in the origins. We need Marvel to do an origin story of the Wombats, but we just needed a name for a poster, and that was the first thing that popped out of my mouth. And these two were like, "Oh, why did you say that?" And and it stuck, and here we are.
What comes to mind is when we got to support the Rolling Stones in New Jersey. I feel like that was like, because it was kind of the first gig that I ever went to was Rolling Stones in '97, and then with us getting to support them, felt like it was full circle, kind of like, yeah. And we got to meet Mick Jagger, and after that was before the show, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I didn't end up moving to New York in the end, but moved to LA. But yeah, the advent of children really there's no real insomnia when they show up, because you just pass out into just severe darkness. Thank you. Thanks.